Are we having a beef or what's happening?
Hello and welcome to Celebrity Big Brother Breakdown after a really intense double eviction night. And do you remember back in the day when we had the big fight night, Celebrity Big Brother history? You know how everyone would go, it's a bit woke now, we don't have physical fights. I think that's quite a good thing we don't have physical fights in the house, but we still want it to be entertaining. And I feel like the fight night of 2024 is Fern Nikita.
Oh, well,
It was bringing a beef.
Are we having a beef?
A beef? Not just beef, we're having a beef.
It's my new favourite thing to say to anyone ever. Are we having a beef? It was just so, I don't know, the cynics among us could say that Fern was trying to create some sort of beef because it just felt very contrived to me.
When you said to me the other day, and you were very sweet, I like your stripy top. Stripes are in fashion, Fern.
I like the jumper, Fern. Stripes are really cool at the moment.
I know.
Totally.
And it felt like she was trying to have a beef. Mm-hmm. And whether she was almost trying to paint Nikita in a negative light ahead of vote. But what I'm thinking about is how, so when they were talking to Zizi about it after she obviously was evicted alongside Marisha, Zizi said, as we had rightly, I think, on the money with our theory, she is incredibly sensitive at the moment, very conscious of her age, and anytime anyone says anything that can be linked to it in any way, it hits target. And I think she's almost of that. You know when you're annoyed about something and then anything that anyone ever says about that thing, you immediately bring it back to it. She's so in that zone.
But then no one else is thinking about it. It's deranged almost.
Yeah.
But
what was really interesting as well is, when they played back the clip, which I love when they do this, it's like people's recollections of this may vary. Because Nikita literally said something like, I really like that top. Oh, and stripes is so fashionable. Full stop. And
it wasn't at all like the way that Fern described
Fern's version was, actually, stripes are in fashion for a woman of your age. So it's very brave of you to be wearing such a fashionable item of clothing. And it was just... God bless her. There's a chip on your shoulder and then there's the McCain factory and she's there.
That was brilliant.
She's there, isn't it?
To be honest, I think this is getting a bit out of hand. It was just a nice compliment. It was nothing bad.
And it was lovely. Nothing bad.
Nothing bad.
No,
so
nothing bad.
No bad meaning.
But it's just,
Yeah, and depressingly, she's the last woman left, which I think we should be celebrating. That one, we've still got a woman in the final, rather than just an all-male final. But I'm really disappointed that it's Fern. That Nikita moment seemed to be that turning point. So for Ek and Sue, it was the Marisha and Louis nominations, but for Fern, it's that row with Nikita because we had all of the boos chanting "Get Fern out," and yet she still gets through.
Yeah.
How does that happen? Why do you sometimes get that on the outside everyone shouting "Get Fern out" and then actually they still get the vote?
It's so bizarre, isn't it? We're actually speaking to someone later, aren't we, who has had encounters and run-ins with Fern before. So Amanda's having a little chat with Kerry Katona, which is exciting. So stay tuned for that one. And she could probably shed more of a light on this. I've never met Fern before. I think that sometimes like you say, there's a real disconnect between what's happening on the show and outside of the show. Mm-hmm. And I think that they're all a bit scared of Fern in the house. Mm. Be it because they're now on eggshells, not wanting to upset her, because they're obviously all quite conscious of her feeling sensitive and being in a difficult place and that kind of thing. Mm. Definitely the whole way Nikita dealt with that was very, oh no, I've upset Fern. Mm. Didn't you think?
I think it started off like that, and then I think he just found it. When you're having I always think when you just need to have a row with someone, and sometimes you're just annoyed, and so for your own sake, you just pick a fight. Yeah. And it felt like that, and I think he recognised it was like that, and was getting because he was kind of making faces at his friends.
Yeah.
Which again is kind of going to add to all of this. There is going to be more a beef because it's like secluding her even more. They're all sort of they're all feeling the same about her.
Yeah.
They're all turning and making faces because she's saying something that is, completely deranged.
Yeah.
It's a real moment, isn't it, in the series if you imagine someone as sweet and as pie as Fern has tried to be this whole series, and then you've got people chanting "Get Fern out."
Yeah.
It feels a lot.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And important, one of those moments that stands out.
She, I don't know whether you saw when she spoke to Big Brother in the diary room afterwards, she said, I just thought it was a very strange choice of words. I think it's hysterical and I feel unbearably smug about it. I don't know, just weird. Weird choice of words.
Totally. I mean, if it is a game plan, it's a terrible one because Nikita is proving to be one of the most popular people in the house. So turning on him, that's what's basically got her reaction.
Yeah.
Do you feel as if she realised in the moment that when she was getting that backlash from him that she was in the wrong? Because I don't. I think she was just sitting thinking this is kind of the drama that I wanted it to be making him look bad. And I think she still thinks at that point, before maybe hearing the crowd chant, I think she felt as if this is, I'm being a bit of a victim gameplay here.
Yeah.
This is, they're all turning on me, they all don't like that I'm here because I'm old and when she's not old. Louis older.
Yeah.
It just makes no sense.
Yeah, that's what I read from the hysterical and unbearably smug. All of that's wrapped up in the it's hysterical that I've managed to win over these young, entertaining people, and I feel unbearably smug that I'm still here despite everyone being against me because of my age. You know what I mean? It's all wrapped up in that narrative, and as we've said before,
Totally.
it's really sad that that's how she feels about everything. But I agree with you about the Nikita beef, because I always think you can tell when someone isn't necessarily wedded to the row that they've got themselves involved in, because they just drop the bombshell and then they go, okay, it's fine, and back out because they've got nothing to back it up. And it felt like she had nothing to back it up. Mm-hmm. She wanted to drop her little bomb that it almost felt like she'd practiced what she was going to say. Mm-hmm. Now, don't get me wrong, we all think about what we'd say in the shower.
Yeah, but I do it weeks later and I'm like, yes, that would have been a great line.
But she did do it like 3 days later, didn't she? She was like, do you remember 3 days ago?
Yeah.
So she's obviously stewed on that.
When she was on the wine, it was the fact that she was pouring the wine and you're just like, no, you say things that you don't, I don't think you should do this.
This is the other thing I was going to say. Like, do we think that Fern had a bit too much rosé?
I think so. I think so. I think she's loose-lipped.
And it's like the thing came out that she'd been thinking about.
It had been brewing.
Yeah.
And she felt like she had to
But then as soon as she said it, she went, oh no, it's fine. I wasn't offended. It's fine.
And even the way she kept
almost
saying,
immediately.
The way she kept kind of afterwards when she tried to have a conversation with him, and she was making him out to be the bad person because he wouldn't have the conversation. He didn't want to sit down and talk, did he? He was sort of just wanted to be at arm's length, which I think is fair enough.
He was like, I'm not in the mood for a beef.
A beef? No, I don't want a beef. I'm a vegetarian tonight, okay?
Yeah.
And I think the way that she kept saying, no, as if agreeing with him, but it's like, no, but you're the person who has accused him of all of these things.
You brought the beef to the table.
So very confusing, and I'm just not sure how she was able to sort of sneak through after that into the vote, because I think Marisha and Zizi have been far better housemates.
I agree. I think there's a bigger thing here that we should talk about, which is like why women do less well on reality TV programs. So, for example, just recently we saw how Dancing on Ice, it's now been 12 series since a woman won Dancing on Ice. And you're not telling me that there's not been likeable, popular, famous people on that show who have done incredible things. The last few series of I'm a Celebrity, it's usually someone that's a very ladette, approachable woman who wins. It's like a Vicky Pattison, a Scarlett Moffat,
That's interesting that it's,
why
not a girly girl.
Why don't people vote for women?
I think actually, with the Dancing on Ice thing, just to be devil's advocate, I do think that with that kind of skill, I think the men have a sort of tougher job in that show. So I think
Yeah.
the male celebrities, when they're lifting up the women, and I think you can be spun around if you're a dainty little girl and it looks great, but maybe you're not actually doing as much. I think it's harder for the males in that show. The celebrity one, I don't know, is it more because there's more women who watch these kind of shows and they maybe fancy the guy, or the girl's a bit not their like kind of friendly, like you know, with girls it's a girly girl thing, isn't it? And sometimes that can create a little bit of jealousy.
Yeah, I just think it's sad, and frequently you see it. It's very, very difficult, I think, as a woman on one of these programs to win.
Well, a lot of people say when you have an addictive personality and they get rid of one addiction, it's replaced with another.
Which is, what addiction would that be?
Is it alcohol?
No, not at all. I'm on holiday in Spain. You know, I'm allowed to have a drink, can't I?
I get judged for it. I was very suicidal at that moment. I felt very alone in the moment. But when I watch the show in the morning, because I'm in bed by 8:30, I can't make it through the night. So when I watched it this morning, I found it very ironic. Would you like some rosé? Hey, Nikita, you know, I'm 21 in my head. I thought, oh, someone's a bit tipsy. Hey up, love. Are you pissed up? You know, I meant it all in jest. He was being ironic and having a laugh and a joke. Obviously, she's not an alcoholic. Otherwise, she wouldn't be on the show. But I just thought it was how the tables have turned, Amanda. How the tables have turned.
Yeah, and
it's like all this karma's coming out. You know, it's like it's crackers.
Yeah, and it seems to be that she, even though we heard the chants and the boos,
that's not nice
for
anybody.
No,
I
absolutely
want
not.
That anybody. It's not nice. But that does not mean that I can't have my opinion and also laugh at my situation from years ago. Do you know what I mean? You know, you got the likes of Louis, you got Sharon, you got Fern in there. Now, these are, apart from Sharon, obviously Sharon's a class in herself. These are people who have always kind of looked down at me a little bit for doing reality shows. And, you know, and really, and then to see them in the Big Brother chair begging, really, and that's what we're doing there. Please don't get rid of me. You know, I think the irony, the bloody irony of it all, but it's bloody great TV, and I cannot get enough of it. I can't get enough of it. It's great.
So what is it with Fern about that Nikita situation? Do you think she genuinely was hurt about it, or do you think that she was trying to portray Nikita in a negative way? And if so, why?
I think Nikita held his own extremely well. I thought he came across great. I don't know. I think she's quite bitter from the nominations. Let me make this really clear. I'm not digging out Fern here at all. We're talking. I just feel like people get isolated a little bit because of the platform that I have. I feel like she's bitter over the nominations. I think she's trying to stay in with the younger crowd. Fair play to her. And I do think she is playing a game. I think she sees Louis as a threat. That's why she put the snake in there. Right. Otherwise, she would have gone for Nikita. So I think she's playing a game, and I think it's starting to slide a little bit.
The mask is slipping.
The mask is starting to slip a little bit. Do you know what I mean? She's very passive aggressive. Both her and Philip were. We're very passive aggressive. That's how it is. I get in so much trouble because I just say what's on my mind.
That's why we love you, Kerry. That's why we love you.
I cannot help it. I don't look at myself as one of these people. I look at myself as one of the public. That's where I come from. I'm speaking from being like a Joe Blogs and being in this situation and thinking how I've been treated. But I mean, that is been and gone. And
that's how you've got an interesting experience, because you've been there and you've met these people, but you are also really down to earth and saying
exactly. I don't look at myself with this. I'm very fortunate, but I do think the mask is slipping with Fern. I think I'm really shocked she didn't get out last night. I am so shocked. For me, I wanted Zizi, David, and Louis in the final. I mean, Nikita's lovely, Bradley's lovely, but they're just a bit dull for me. They haven't. For me, when I want a winner, I want them to give me pure gold entertainment. Do you know what I mean? They haven't they're just coasting through those, like, aren't they? Fern's been great TV. Ekin-Su was great TV.
Oh, incredible TV, yeah.
I feel like all those people who are going, you know, that's what we want to watch. Yeah, I think she should go. Obviously, I don't hate anybody, anything like that. But yeah, she's very condescending. She's very passive aggressive. She's called herself smug. She's called herself a snake. Don't trust her as far as I could throw her.
So let's talk about who we think. So tonight we have surprise eviction.
I did think when last night, yeah, but last night it was clever how, you know, when they were opening up the vote, it was as if like they didn't say finalists, but it was like vote to win.
Yeah. And
so you're kind of assuming that maybe they're going to get through. That's all of them going to the, you know, it's a big final this year.
Yeah, 100%. I think for me, Louis winning.
Yeah, I think he should. I think he should on entertainment value. Maybe because we've seen more of him than we have of David. But those two are the standout stars for me this 100%. Series. They've delivered. Like I've really like thrown my head back laughing at what the both of them have said.
Yeah.
And I think that's worth it alone. You know, they've provided. It's meant to be an entertainment show. I know that we like our rows and stuff, but they are genuinely hilarious.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree. What I think would be a real shame is that obviously, now we don't know this, but there's every chance that because we've not seen the usual appeal for audience, there's certainly been no sort of plans put in place for a proper eviction, that Who Leaves Tonight will get one of the backdoor evictions without a crowd and without a late and live, a sort of proper setup. They'll still be on, but you know what I mean? They won't get the same treatment as the big...
That's sad.
And I will feel really sad if David certainly gets that because he deserves more.
No, he won't.
So realistically, this is a really savage, toxic thing of me to say. Of the people who are left, who can we bear to have a low-key eviction?
Ben.
Oh, I was going to say Coulson.
Ooh. But he's already been called boring. Like, that's going to get in his head. He's going to hate that.
So the reason why I say this is I could see him hating that catwalk with the fireworks. Yeah. What song would they play? I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Do you think that he's boring then? Is that what you're saying?
I think that he is less entertaining than the others, but I don't think that's the same thing as boring. You know what I mean? Like on a 1 to 10,
low key, and so he wouldn't be too fussed about this. You know, the big eviction.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Which sounds like I'm being very sat on the fence as usual, but I think that's what I mean. I think he could cope with it being more low key better than David.
It's a shame because actually you do want Fern to get, you want to see the reaction that she gets. Although, you know how Zizi was getting booed and then she came out and it was massive cheers.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether like the audience are a little bit, the crowd sort of think, well, boo because they can't see us, and when they come out we'll actually cheer for them.
Do you know there's only about 50 people there maximum?
God, it sounds so many more. That's crazy.
And I think the kind of people who are prepared to come to London and be in that crowd or live in London.
It's quite out of the way, isn't it?
It's like North London. It's like top of the tube line. You know, you are just stood outside. Let's face it, we're in Britain. The weather's miserable. Like it's you're not getting a very broad demographic there. I think you're getting a certain type of person. So I think that it means probably that Zizi is being cheered, the younger crowd get cheered, whereas the likes of Fern probably won't be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I read on Twitter last night? So obviously everyone has the banners and they vet them as you go in, and someone claims that we should say, because no evidence of this, but they claims that their banner that said Ekin-Who was confiscated.
Oh, juicy.
No proof of this, I should say, but obviously ITV potentially now thinking that they need to make sure that Ekin's being looked after.
Yeah. She was brought up quite a lot in Marisha's exit interview, though.
Yeah.
And I did feel as if there were a lot of, I don't know, I guess like the amount of times that she was spoken about, and it was still a quite negative feeling. And because we haven't heard from her, it's just adding to that being one-sided.
Yeah, definitely. And God, I don't know what you think. So, let me get myself on the fence here. Both Marisha and Zizi had moments in the house that could have been dived into by AJ and Will in that holding to account kind of manner. So Zizi had the orange argument. She certainly crossed swords with Louis. Marisha obviously had that really awful nomination of Ekin-Su that could have been called game playing, but it did not feel like either of those were called to account in the same way that Ekin was.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree?
I do. I think there was definitely it felt so much friendlier last night, but there was huge backlash against AJ and Will over how they spoke to Ekin-Su. So I think that's going to affect you. I think you're going to go into the next interview and it's going to have an impact
Getting
on
cozy on the fence.
yeah. Well, exactly. But then again, like, we've all got favourites and like people that you gel with a little bit more, and we don't know what went on between AJ and Will with Ekin. There might have been words said, or they know something that's happened during the show, and that they had an opinion, and everyone's allowed an opinion. We sit here and talk about ours all the time, so everyone's allowed that. But I felt that the Ekin-Su interview was like, toe curling, but then that's what I love watching Big Brother for, those moments.
I feel like as the host of a TV show, you are entitled to your opinion, but you are there representing the channel, and I think that we need our TV channels to be unbiased. We all like to think that the edit is fair, don't we? Mm-hmm. That we are receiving a true and fair representation of the action that's happened.
Yeah.
And I would therefore kind of argue that as the host conducting an interview, you shouldn't really bring your opinion into it.
I think that it was, they didn't straight out say this is what I think to her. It was just always inferred. But what I did appreciate AJ in particular doing was calling out Ekin when Ekin was saying, you've not portrayed me how I am. That wasn't in the edit, whatever. When she didn't know, she'd literally just come straight out of the house.
Yeah.
Because that's a line that has just become so easily overused, hasn't it? Of someone saying they're not liked, therefore you've not really seen the real me.
Yeah.
And, there's 24. I mean, I honestly can't hear that again.
No, I know.
It's so frustrating.
But then I did.
When I do say it came out of your mouth, like you did say it.
And I completely agree. But then I also agree with what Ekin said in response, which was, well, obviously nothing good because everybody hates me.
Yeah.
Like AJ said, well, you've not seen what got shown, and she said, well, obviously it was nothing good because everyone hates me, which
I know, but at the same time, there's a live stream every night, and for hours, 4 hours long, and everyone watches that, and we see sides of people that we don't necessarily see on the main show, but everyone gets that opportunity.
Yeah.
Sometimes people just have to own their actions as well.
Yeah.
And AJ and Will have to own it, and I was actually tentatively watching it last night, thinking, do they bring it up about Ekin and what's gone on? Because everyone's talking about it, and there's these moments where if we're all talking about what's going on in the house and everything around the show, and they're encouraging that debate, if there's a general feeling that's built up about them as presenters and how they've handled certain situations, we need to hear from them as well. It's like a two-way street, isn't it? So it would have been really good actually last night for them to maybe reflect on that interview.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they're waiting because they're still talking to Ekin behind the scenes, and they're trying to, resolve a beef.
Yeah. Well, certainly, obviously, today on Wednesdays is usually when Ofcom release their weekly stats of what's being complained about and all that kind of thing. And fans, certainly, as we mentioned, were saying they intended to speak to Ofcom and complain about the late and live, particularly. So we'll see what comes of that later today. So, I want to bring up something fun.
Good.
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 I loved last night when Louis the Lip shared another little gem from his showbiz past.
Yeah.
Talking about the X Factor, which we know was full of a beef. When he... Best bit was like, I need to take a breath.
I know.
And we all went, go on.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
Like, I need to control myself here because I'm very overexcited to tell this story.
And he basically said how he was, one of the times that he was annoyed at Simon Cowell, which sounds like was frequently, was when he was feeling really chuffed. He'd got Westlife all ready to perform with JLS in the final. Oh, yeah.
We do Flying Without Wings. They divvy it up between them. Da-da-da-da-da. Simon loves Cheryl. What did he do? He got her Beyonce.
Simon pulls out Beyonce to perform with Alexandra Burke because he wanted to help Cheryl, who was Alexandra's judge. And can you imagine in that moment? It would just be like, you know, if you come into, us in our job, you come into the office and you think you've got a really good story about, let's say, well, look, let's face it, about David Potts, and you're like, I've got a really good Celebrity Big Brother story. And then someone else comes in and they're like, got a story about Simon Cowell. You're like, oh, okay, well, your story's obviously, you know.
Yeah.
You're hitting a 6 there. And you'd just be like, it doesn't get any bigger than Beyonce. But do you remember watching that moment at the time? Mm-hmm. Because back in the day, I don't think it was even really known that Beyonce was performing. I think they managed to keep it a surprise.
I'm trying to think back, but I don't think it was. And it was, that's because back then it was more of a shock factor. Things happened that we didn't know about at all, and they could keep it more secret.
And it was just Alexandra Burke. She was doing Listen from Dreamgirls. And halfway through, obviously she was smashing it because she was incredible. She went, ladies and gentlemen, Beyonce.
And the whole time she kept going, I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah. And it was like a real television moment, wasn't it? So, yeah. I mean,
one of the all-time great moments.
Oh my God.
And I love the fact that Louis was able to sort of give detail behind that, a bit of context, because I think what's been great about him is his honesty, and brutal at times as it is, I think he says things that we kind of knew already. So we've always known that X Factor judges they've not always got on, and there's trouble between them that gets a beef that gets stirred up, and that he's honest about the fact that they were competitive within each other. They weren't exactly all fighting for their artists. You know, it wasn't about JLS or
Chico
or whoever else. It's about them as a judge looking great and how they come across, and it was also politics between them. So Simon obviously was the head judge. He owns the show.
Yeah,
he can always bring out the trump card, you know. And I think that's what he was putting across by saying that, was that you can do all you can, you know, beef it up in this. Beef are obsessed with today. But it's going to be Simon Cowell that wins overall. Right, do you want to hear about tonight's show? Because I think it sounds like a fun one.
Yes. So aside from the surprise eviction, they do a really fun challenge. Basically, I'm less excited about the challenge and more excited about the prize.
Okay.
So the challenge is they're going to be doing a really fun game where they're all wearing balloons. There's a yellow team and a red team, and they have to pop each other's balloons, essentially. No. So it's just sort of like madcap mayhem. But the winners get a Chinese takeaway.
Oh my God.
I know. And
I'm jealous of that. I'm thinking I could actually get one because I'm not in the Big Brother house, like stopped from doing it. But like I'm already jealous.
And I always think what's really funny about the reason why I'm excited about this is, you know, that those things for when they're on Big Brother just become such a huge big deal. Like, you remember in Civilian when Olivia was just so excited about getting a coconut latte.
Yeah.
What would be the thing that you think you would be like, I just want this one thing?
Like my death row kind of meal is like a really rare steak, like the best steak.
A beef?
A beef. Why are we obsessed?
Guys,
I didn't even mean to do that.
We're not sponsored by beef today.
We're not.
Yesterday we were. Would it?
Yeah. Oh my God, there's nothing better in this life.
Mine would be, this is so niche, but because I'm dairy intolerant, I'm really, really picky about the kind of chocolate I can have, because like dairy-free chocolate's weird, like some of it's awful. So I would just be like, I really want this one specific thing, please. And yeah. Anyway, a segue, because another fun thing that happens tonight is hooked around one of the things that someone's really craving, and it's Diet Coke. So,
do they not have that in there?
Well, David is given a secret challenge to try and start a massive argument.
Oh, no.
So he decides to kick off about the fact that someone's had the last Diet Coke from the fridge. Unbeknownst to him, all of the other housemates have been told when he's in the diary room getting his secret challenge.
Yeah.
They're all told there's a sort of double down secret challenge where they all need to not be drawn into the argument. So David is just like furiously trying to whip everyone into a frenzy, and they're like,
that's so great.
But do you know,
That's
I think
a silly challenge, and I just like that. It's fun.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be absolutely brilliant scenes, because we know that David loves a challenge and a prank, and we saw the really fun one he did last night with Marisha and the cutlery.
That was funny.
And I think people are going to be saying that Big Brother is fixing this for David to win.
Oh.
You know that fans love her. You're fixing this for someone to win.
Yeah.
You're rigging this.
Yeah.
And certainly I know that they had strong feelings about Louis getting his pass to the final and how they were rigging it for him to win. And it definitely feels like tonight is the David show.
David's show, yeah.
So I'm going to stick my neck out there and say that David's not going tonight.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I would be devastated if he went. I think he deserves a place in the final.
Yeah.
He's had the journey, and we always need someone in there that's had the journey.
Yeah.
From, what you thought about him at first, completely changing into the end. For me, it's got to be, I would personally would probably want it to be Coulson or Bradley, because they haven't brought like too much drama, and there's been nothing else there from them. They've just been nice, which is great, but kind of boring. Fern, she probably deserves the place because she's actually brought, what would we have talked about for the past couple of days if it wasn't for Fern?
Yeah, true.
We've been obsessed with her, so yeah, I'm going to go for maybe between Coulson and Nikita, Coulson and Bradley.
Yeah.
Nikita's not going to go.
No, I think you're right. I think we'll be talking about Coulson or Bradley going. Maybe Fern, but who knows. I was looking at some of the polls online that obviously now are like, who do you want to win? And it's pretty equal. Louis and David are obviously leading. Sorry, not leaving.
Oh my God, you scared me then.
Leading.
That's been my worst nightmare.
But yeah, we'll see. Certainly there's more time for beef. Mm-hmm. They're off to a beefer.
Oh my God. On that bum note, we're going to end it there. And we'll see you tomorrow to talk about the latest evictee and our new finalists.
Are we not putting that joke in my Big Brother breakdown best bits?
Oh God, the worst bits, you mean?
Do you think that was up there with the Ekin Studio?
Oh my God, please don't bring that back. See you tomorrow.